What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. We've all heard the jokes. Sure wish I finished training. Stevie Wonder's Institute for Trucking. Sure, we're insured for that, but today we're diving into Swift Transportation to see if the reputation is true or if these are just some funny jokes. In this video, we're calling Swift's recruiting department. We're also going to take a look at some reviews that are written about Swift Transportation. And last but not least, we'll be looking at some driver reviews of the company right here on YouTube. And as always, at the end of the video, I'll answer the question, okay or no way, would I, Trucker219, go to work for Swift Transportation? And don't forget to stay tuned, because this is the video where we're going to announce the Trucker Starter Pack giveaway. And we're diving in right now. Let's go. March!
Thank you for calling Swift Transportation. How can I help?
Hi, I was calling to see, you guys offer a CDL training program, right?
That is correct.
Okay, I was calling to see if I can get some more information about that.
What questions can I answer for you?
Well, I mean, just what does the training program look like in order to get my CDL? Do I have to come on with a permit? Is there any pay while I'm going through that? Just all the general stuff.
Sure. So we would definitely want you to complete an application for us. We would look at your last 10 years of employment to include any schooling and or both. If we're able to navigate beyond the application, we would then look at a driving record on you and also a background. If all of those things were good, we would see if we can get you into the academy. So we have an academy there in Memphis. So we would see if we can get you there. The academy initially would be for 4 weeks. And for those first 4 weeks, it would be without compensation. The second set of 4 weeks would be over-the-road training with a mentor. And for that time, we would pay you $650 for each of those weeks. And then after which, we'd like to offer you a job.
Okay. If I were to go through your guys' CDL training, do you guys offer a contract? Like, would I have to serve a contract with you guys?
Well, I mean, if you're here with us for a year, that would be perfect.
Okay, so is it
required?
required?
Something like this.
What's that?
How soon were you hopeful to do something like this?
I was calling around to see what other training companies there are. I'm just really interested in getting my CDL, probably after the holidays here.
Okay. I think you were asking another question.
Yeah, is that a requirement to serve that 1-year contract? And if so, what would be the cost to me if I were to leave early?
So the total cost for the academy is $79.95.
And that's $7,995.
That is correct.
Okay.
So the way that it works is for the first year, you would pay $75 a week toward that. So at the year mark, you've only paid $3,900 of it. At that point, on the 53rd week, your terminal would then pay the balance, which is $4,095. And then once you're here 2.5 years, we would then start paying you $50 a week for 78 weeks, which pays you back the $3,900 that you paid in. Now, let's just say if you were with us for just a few months, you'd have to pay it all back.
Okay, so it's not like a depreciating situation where that $79.95 will go down each week, and then once it's done, like if I were to leave after 2 months, it wouldn't be less
You'd
than
have to pay
$70.
it all back at that point.
Okay, gotcha, understood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, and then
So whatever you paid in.
Go ahead.
So whatever you paid in at that point, right? So let's just say if you were here for 2 months, you paid it for 2 months. Whatever the balance is after that, you'd have to pay that.
Okay, gotcha. So it does take away from that up until whenever I were to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, and then after I go solo, you said 4 weeks over-the-road training at $650 a week with an over-the-road trainer. After that, we would go solo, and then what's the cents per mile on solos?
You could see yourself generating at that point anywhere from $1,000 to $1,300 a week.
Okay, and there's what would be the cents per mile? Because truckers aren't paid by a weekly amount. What would the cents per mile be?
Sure. So which truck would you be interested in? Dry van or?
Yeah, probably dry van to start, just to get enough experience to do maybe something different.
Sure. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you that. And hopefully, once you're done gathering all of your information, hopefully we surface at the top and you give us a call back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just doing my research to see what's out there.
Sure. Yeah. No, I totally get it. You always want to do that. So give me a second here. I'll give you that on drive-in. You're looking at about 43 cents.
43 cents per mile. Okay. And then
That is correct.
while you're on that, what is the pay progression for that? You said after a year the contract would be paid off. Is there pay progression, like a yearly increase on that?
Yeah, that would be discussed, once you're here. There would be opportunities for bonuses as well and an increase.
Okay, but that would be determined after that time?
That is correct.
Okay. And then last couple of questions here. Home time, what is your guys' home time policy?
So you would be out about 14 days at a time, and you'd be home 3 to 4 days at a time.
All right. And then if I choose to not go with you guys to get my CDL, what do you guys offer for tuition reimbursement? Do you guys have that?
Do not.
You do not have a tuition reimbursement?
Well, you're saying if you don't come with us?
No, if I were to go to a private institution to get my CDL through like a trucking school or something like that, and have a tuition after that, do you guys offer a tuition reimbursement for drivers with a CDL, just not any experience?
I think I understand what you're asking me, and let me look into that for you. And what other questions can I answer for you?
The tuition reimbursement, and then anything for veterans. Do you guys do like a?
We would definitely ask. Are you a veteran, by the way?
I am not, but I have a buddy that's also looking to possibly go team with me at some point.
Okay, got it. So we would definitely request a copy of his DD 214 and see, how we can help him out from that standpoint.
Okay. And then the other two questions I have were, do you guys have cameras?
In the trucks?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Both inward and outward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then what are you guys' trucks governed at?
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
What are your guys' trucks governed at? A speed limiter?
That is a good question. I'm not sure on that.
Okay. Were you able to find anything on that tuition reimbursement?
Okay, I'll give you a call back.
Okay.
All right, sir. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. Okay, so I guess he's not going to answer tuition reimbursement. However, the website right here says Swift has a tuition reimbursement program if you attend a third-party school. Awesome. Hi, Rosie. All right, come on, get out of here. Shoot. All right, so I just got off the phone with the driver recruiter, and it didn't seem like this guy knew everything that was going on over there at Swift, with him not being able to tell me what the trucks were governed at, nor was he able to tell me what the tuition reimbursement would be had I not gone through their CDL training program. But we did find out that they do a pretty intensive background search on the drivers before they hire them to come on board. And this includes a criminal background check, a driving history background check, and according to their website, some disqualifying factors are leaving the scene of an accident, being under the influence of alcohol as prescribed by state law, driving recklessly as defined by state and local regulations, being under the influence of a controlled substance as prescribed by state law, speeding excessively involving any speed of 15 miles per hour or more than the regulated or posted speed limit. It also states that you cannot have a DUI in the last 10 years, and it also says for non-CDL holders that you cannot have a DUI within the last 5 years, no more than 2 moving violations in the past 2 years, no more than 1 preventable accident in the last 2 years, and no major accidents within the last 5 years. So it definitely seems like Swift is pretty strict on who they onboard. But that being said, they do offer a CDL training program in order for you to get your CDL. This is a 4-week course where you'll receive no pay, and it will require a year contract to serve out. The total cost for doing their CDL training program is $7,995. During your first year of employment, you'll actually be paying that total back to them through your paychecks from a deduction of $75 a week. And after your first year with Swift, your local terminal will pay off that remaining balance. And if you happen to leave before that 1 year mark, you will be required to pay back the remaining balance of what you hadn't already paid off. And after you receive your CDL, you'll be going out with a driver trainer over the road for an additional 4 weeks, during which time you'll be paid out at $650 a week. And after you get done with that over the road training, you'll be going solo. And according to the recruiter, when you go solo, you'd be making about 43 cents per mile. And this was a little bit of a challenge to pull that out of him. He was more interested in giving you your average weekly pay, but as truckers are not paid by a weekly rate, they're paid by cents per mile, I wasn't going to let that slide. Now, unfortunately, I completely spaced and forgot to ask the average miles per week. However, a quick Google search gave me 2,200 to 3,000 miles for Swift drivers. Their home time policy is 14 days out for 3 to 4 days home. This means that you have to work 2 weeks in a row in order to get a 3-day or 4-day weekend. And the driver recruiter was unable to tell me what their tuition reimbursement was if you decide to go through a private institution or a truck driving school. However, he did say that they do have inward and outward facing cameras, but again was unable to tell me what the trucks were governed at. So let's go ahead and pull up a calculator and see if the recruiter's estimate of $1,000 to $1,300 per week is accurate based off of the cents per mile and what Google had said their average miles per week was. Alright, so first we're starting off at the low end at 2,200 miles per week and multiply that by 43 cents per mile, and it gives you $946 a week pre-tax. And just for the sake of checking, we will look at the 3,000 miles a week, also multiplied by 43 cents per mile, and you're looking at $1,290 a week. Again though, this is pre-tax. And while this high number is definitely in the range of $1,000 to $1,300 per week, the more realistic number really is the 2,200 miles per week. Especially as a new driver, learning the logging system as well as learning different routes. And a lot of times with major carriers, you'll be lucky to get 2,000 miles per week. So I think this 2,200 miles is a little bit more on the accurate side, which doesn't quite fall in the range that that driver recruiter had said. But just for the sake of figuring, we're going to go ahead and take some taxes out of that. And my rule of thumb is 20%. So if 20% is coming out for taxes, you'd be keeping 80%, which would leave you with $756.80 for the week after taxes. So go ahead and subtract another $75 for that. So realistically, you can estimate your paycheck being around $681 per week after taxes and expenses are taken out if you decide to go work with Swift, and especially if you go to get your CDL with Swift. And honestly, I don't even think it's worth it to go to Swift to get your CDL, as there's plenty of private institutions and truck driving schools that you can go through for about the same price, if not less. But moving on, we're going to take a look at some online reviews to see what other drivers have had to say about working for Swift. Alright, so we're over here on Indeed Reviews, and they got a 3.2 star overall, with the majority being in 5, 4, and 3 range, the lowest being in the 2 range, and it spikes back up in the 1 range. And honestly, this is beating out my last review of Western Express, where they didn't even breach 3 stars. So we've got these reviews sorted to the newest, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these most recent reviews. From December 2nd, we got a 4-star review here from a driver out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, going through their driving academy and then higher on to pay it off through the tuition reimbursement is an awesome way to get started in the trucking industry. Just pay attention and learn what you can, then when you have earned your stripes, move on to greener pastures. And honestly, this is like the most standard review for all of the major carriers. As a general rule, you want to get your experience and move it along. Moving down here to another 4-star, decent, from Anonymous. Not a bad place to work as long as you have a decent route. You can be home daily with some of the dedicated routes they have, and pay is way better than over the road guys. Here's a 1-star, just not for me, from a driver operator out of Ocala, Florida. Didn't really learn anything in my training. Orientation was okay. They need work on their trainers, was not good with informing me on how to live my life over the road. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that's more of a personal preference too, though, as far as how you want to operate as an over-the-road driver. For me, I like to go and go and not stop until my time is done, as little as possible. While there's other driver friends of mine that will prefer to drive for an hour or two and then take a break and take a walk around the truck for about about 15 minutes and then jump back in and go. Okay, so this 4-star review from November of this year from an owner-operator out of Ocala, Florida. They said it's a good company to get experience and learn controlling fuel consumption and managing your time and learning the good and bad areas. They said the pros are some people are nice in the terminals, clean terminals. The con says at 5 p.m. Friday, they will forget about you until Monday. Yeah, this is definitely a big thing in over-the-road trucking. You really want to make sure you get a load by the end of the day Friday to last you over the weekend, otherwise you are going to get stuck. And this is because the main dispatchers only work the 5-day work schedule. And for some reason on the weekends, the weekend dispatchers do not do a very good job as a general rule. Okay, this is a 5-star review also from November from a truck driver out of Alabama. And this one says, need 2 years of experience to go forward. Every company wants 2 years of experience. On the road 2 weeks plus at a time to make a fair check. Take your time. Each task has a lot of detail. Pros, you have to slow down to learn. Cons, experience takes time. Yeah, that's a fair point. I don't necessarily agree with the 2 years. Obviously, that's going to open up more doors for you, but 6 months to a year worth of experience is a good spot to be. Okay, this is a 3-star, also from November, over-the-road truck driver out of Phoenix, Arizona. Good place to start, not to stay. My experience was different from others, but in over-the-road, there's not a lot of money. You're not forced to work any loads. Home time is very flexible over the road. Happy for the experience, but wouldn't go back. Pros says it's a very flexible home time. Cons is low pay. Got a 5-star here that says productive workplace. This one's a 4-star that says pay is good, truck delivery driver. Being a new truck driver, the pay isn't bad. I learned a lot of things at this company and the training was top notch. If you're new to trucking and want to learn from the best, come to Swift for your driver's training. All right, well, that's a pretty good review there. All right, here's another 4-star, easy and helpful. Never had many problems and the dispatchers were always helpful. They gave me loads consistently and if I ever felt unsafe, they would tell me not to drive. Good starting company. All right, so we're seeing a whole lot of 5 stars and 4 stars pretty recently here. Great place to start, best, spectacular. Great beginner job into the transportation business. This is a customer account manager though, not a truck driver. 3-star review here from a truck driver. It's good for starting off. All right, so realistically, a lot of these newer reviews are definitely in the higher star range. So out of curiosity, I'm gonna go ahead and flip over to the lowest reviews and see what some of those reviews have to say. All right, flipping over here, the first 1-star I see is actually from a line haul billing representative, challenging management and culture. Now this isn't a truck driver's experience, but sometimes it is helpful to see some of the reports from the folks that are working in the office. All right, so here's another 1-star out of Georgia from a shop foreman. Don't make a mistake and join this place. Everyone is a crybaby. If the work stacks up, learn that the management do not know what they are doing. Shops old, ran down, and it's like pulling teeth to get anything to work. Getting up to go to work and all the complaining, leaving is the best part of the day. Now this is coming from a shop foreman, so this is somebody that's not happy with his experience, and this is one of the guys that are working on your trucks. So if he's not happy with his experience, do you really think he's going to focus a whole lot of attention on making sure your truck's fixed correctly? Here's a 1-star from an over-the-road flatbed driver. Treated me terrible scheduling, planning, pay, and maintenance. They are there to get one over on you. They only care about the money. They don't get to be a big rich company by treating their drivers well. They will lie to you to get you in the truck and then you will be stuck there until you quit. So it's definitely a little concerning for me to see the folks that are working in the office are the ones that are complaining a whole lot more about the company. There really hasn't been one particular thing that's been a repetitive thing in these reviews. It seems like everybody has their own complaints about their own particular things. All right, so we're going to take a look at some reviews right here on YouTube and see what other drivers have had to say about working for Swift. And this first one is from Flames on Forbes, and I'll leave a link to this video down below.
Swift, their main appeal to new drivers is that the fact that they do accept new drivers. So they do it by a mentorship program. So you're in the truck with somebody else for about 4 weeks and they're teaching you directly, they're teaching you hands-on. And so the problem with that is the mentorship, or the mentor that you get rather, it's completely random. So you don't get any choice. You do get to choose whether if you want somebody that smokes or not, if you're a smoker or not. But that's even like a little bit inconsistent because I don't smoke and I ask for somebody that doesn't smoke. My mentor smoke, right? So that's not even always going to be consistent. But I just want to say shout out to Manny, my mentor, because he was a blessing really, because the mentor that you get, guys, I'm sorry, the things that you learn and pick up, that's going to funnel directly into your first couple months when you're going solo. So I had a really good mentor. You know, he taught me everything. He just poured into me, and you know, he got on me. There was times where like he wasn't satisfied with the backing, and you know, he would get on me, and I have to do it over and over and over, and it was irritating at the time because I was just trying to get through it. But now looking back on it, I'm glad that he did. So I know there's mentors out here that they're just doing it for the check. So you have to be invested in your own career, and you need to make sure that you're getting what you need out of it. And if they still don't, you know, ask for another mentor. That is something that they will do if you're not.
Yeah, it's definitely important to make sure that you're being receptive to the training. I know a lot of times drivers have already done the work to get their CDL and they're getting into their first company and they think they know a lot already, but the experience that a mentor can give you from their experiences is an invaluable asset, and if you're willing to soak it up, it's going to be good for you in the long term. So try to keep your ego in check when you're going into training and learn as much as you can. I know it can be frustrating, especially when they're having you repetitively do stuff over, but just know it's all there to help you learn, and you're going to be doing this over and over and over again while you're getting into your career. So they're honestly just trying to train you to spot certain things that you might miss and ultimately help you become a better driver.
Comfortable with your mentor. If you feel like you haven't got enough training experience, or just like proper training, you're allowed to ask for another mentor, but you have to make sure to do it, because I know a lot of these mentors are not it, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's not just, you know, the backing and the driving, it's also like proper shipper etiquette, truck stop etiquette, you know. So there's a lot of things that they taught me. My orientation class, there was like 7 people that came into the class with me. 3 of them got 2025 T680, what is it called? The Kentworths, right? So in that aspect, I feel like it's completely random, because I talked to them, they didn't have no prior experience. They didn't even understand why they were getting the truck. So I got a 2020 International, LT, and the drive shaft broke like 2 weeks in. I was at a shipper and it was muddy. I don't know why it broke, but it did. And so it broke, and then now I got a 2022 Volvo VNL. So I like the truck. I love the truck actually. But as far as if you were to ask me like what is the process in deciding what truck goes to this person, that person, I would assume that's completely random, because I don't get it. Like, it's whatever's on the lot and is available to you, they give to you. Actually, when my truck broke down, there was a T680 available, and the lady basically told me, like, for my replacement truck, she just told me to go on the lot and look at the Volvo, but I saw the T680 and I went back in there and I asked her if I could have that one, and she was gonna give it to me. She just had to ask somebody else, but I didn't really have time for that. I had to go somewhere else. I just say that to say that, like, they're not completely strict on what trucks go to what person, I would assume.
Yeah, they're definitely constantly cycling through trucks. New drivers are coming in, old drivers are leaving, going to a different company. So sometimes the older trucks are coming into the lot. Sometimes they're leasing trucks from the manufacturer, so those new trucks are coming in at that time. It really all depends at what's available at what time. But it sounds like they have a pretty diverse fleet with Kenworths, Volvo, International. But at the end of the day, at least in my personal opinion, a truck is a truck. If it gets you down the road, that's all that really matters.
So as far as that other equipment, I know that there's flatbed accounts out there. I've seen a couple flatbed drivers. I don't know how much experience you need or what pre-qualifications, if any, that you need to do that. So that's pretty much it for the equipment. So I got my Freightliner, my Volvo, and I do the drive-in basic stuff. So that's it. Freight and mileage. So I just talked to my driver leader a couple days ago, and she said that I'm averaging about 1,600 miles per week. It was like 1,600 or 14, but I would not say that's entirely accurate, just because over the past couple months I've taken some extended home times. I had to get my wisdom teeth removed, so I was out for like a week, and then there's another occasion where I was out for a week. So I would say more accurately it's probably about 1,800 or 2,000 miles per week. And in that, yo, I'm not lying when I say I have not sat for more than like 2 days. Like, I be moving. I definitely be moving. Some of the loads are shorter, some of them are longer, but I have not sat for more than 2 days. Definitely not 3 days. So 2 days max, maybe on like a couple occasions, but they keep me moving. And that's a good thing, because I know the market is not in the best place right now, but I have been moving, and the freight or the location that I'm in is usually Georgia a lot, because I was on the East Coast starting out, but now I'm all 48 states. So I spent a lot of time, especially last time when I was out, I was in like Illinois, the Illinois, Michigan area for like 3 weeks. So, but before it was Georgia. But yeah, yo, so like I have been moving, and the freight hasn't been too bad either. So
yeah, that's right on par with my estimate of what major carriers do, is somewhere between 15 to 2,000 miles a week. Now, as an over-the-road truck driver, it shouldn't be too big of a task to hit 2,500 to 3,000 miles per week, but it all depends on your dispatcher and the freight that is available, and oftentimes these training companies are bringing in more people than what they can sustain. Therefore, they're parsing out their limited amount of loads to a large amount of drivers, so oftentimes you won't get enough loads or enough miles to last you or to get up to that 2,000 miles per week.
Like I said, I've only been with Swift for 6 months, so that is, not a super big time period to make an accurate analysis on freight with Swift, because I've talked to other people who said they were sitting So yeah, that's all I can really say so far. It's been good. Now I watched a video from another guy that was working with Swift, and he said he was averaging about $700 per week, and those are my expectations coming in. Okay, so I have my mindset $700 a week. I can work with that. But over these past 6 months, on average, I've been making about $850 to $1,000 per week, assuming that I'm working that full week. Okay, the most I've made is $1,400, and the least that I've made working, because I made like $300 paychecks, but only working like 2 days and then going home. The least I made working was like $600. Okay, but on average, it's about $900 to $1,000 per week, which for me is really good coming in because I was not expecting that. Now, that is probably not good if you are a seasoned driver. Like these videos that I'm making on Swift, they're kind of tailored to new people coming in. So like I said, it's been about $900 to $1,000 on average.
Yeah, that's right on point with what it was when we did our calculations based off of what the recruiter had said.
Like $850 to $1,000 actually. And the pay structure, I'm getting, last time I said I was getting 47 or 48, that was actually wrong. I'm getting 55, but that is pertaining to East Coast drivers. But for whatever reason, I'm on 48 now, and I was able to keep my pay structure at 55. I don't know how I did that. Some may say it was bribery. I don't know. But that was random. I think it was probably just, my driver leader said it was due to freight. But yeah, y'all, it's been about 800 to 1,000 a week. So
okay, so if he's making $800 to $1,000 a week at 55 cents per mile, this means that he's not getting as many miles, which he said he was averaging about 1,400 miles a week. So if we pull up the calculator here, 1,400 miles times 55 cents a mile is still $770. So he's right in that ballpark there. If he's at 55 cents per mile, he's just not getting the amount of miles that they had said in the recruiting phone call.
the next thing is going to be communication and dispatch. If I had to place one pro on Swift, the biggest pro, it would be the communication. Now they communicate via the Point app, which is their app for dispatching, planner messages, driver leader messages. It all goes to the Point app. Now this has been the biggest pro. They communicate very, very effectively and very well. You can ask any question to a planner. You can ask any question to your driver leader, or any driver leader. It does not have to be specific to you via the Point app. Guys, this is big if you're a new driver, okay? Because when I was coming in, I was basically like, I took my last couple weeks on my mentorship, I was gone. Like it was Christmas, so I was coming in and I was still kind of like, I was rusty. So when I was in desperate need of help. That's what I'm trying to say. And Swift has never ever left me hanging. Like even with the fleet services, which is very important because you're gonna break down eventually. You're gonna give them a call, and all the numbers are gonna be listed in your truck, and they're gonna get that claim put in like that, and they're gonna get somebody out there to help you. I got stuck in the snow. My drive shaft broke, and they get to you. They get back to you really, really fast. Now, as far as whoever gets dispatched, like whoever they call, the roadside service, that is a entirely different story because that's being outsourced. So that might take a couple hours to get there, but they're pretty good communicators. So that would probably be the biggest benefit. And
yeah, communication is huge. As a truck driver, you're out on the road, you're away from everybody you know, everything you know, and realistically, the only way back to civilization and places that are familiar is the communication. So it's important to be in contact with dispatchers, fleet managers, whatever it may be, and especially if you have a breakdown and you're stuck in the middle of the road somewhere where nobody knows where you're at, and they need to be really quick to respond and get somebody out there to help you. It's no fun being stuck on the road for hours on end, not knowing what's going to happen. So it's good to see that Swift is really good at their communication and helping out drivers that have a maintenance breakdown.
There's something else I want to touch on. Oh yeah, loads. So like they do work with you on the loads. It's not really forced to dispatch too much, but just keep in mind, like you might decline a load, they won't say anything about it, and they'll send you another load or whatever. But when you get your monthly review, they're gonna bring it up. They have all the statistics. Like if you're going home every week, they might not say something at first, but they're gonna bring it up in the monthly review. And if it's like a problem consecutively, then you might start to get in trouble. So just keep that in mind. It's not like they're super lenient with everything, but the communication is good. So yeah, that's all I gotta say for that. All right, home time is home time. What's good? I think like I'm really supposed to be getting home like every other week. I think that's what was advertised, but usually I stay out about 3 weeks and I go home for about 3 days. So that's how I've been doing it. It's been working out for me. So like when I get my monthly review, it's weird because they say that you can go home every other week, but when I talk to my driver leader, she's like, oh, I see that you haven't been going home every other week, which is good. You shouldn't be. So it's like, why shouldn't I be if that was what I was told? That was kind of weird, but yeah, I stay out like 3 weeks anyway. It's not like I have a family or anything. I mean, I have family, just not that I gotta take care of. So it's not like I have to be home all that often.
Yeah, definitely. Taking home time every 2 weeks is not going to leave you with a whole lot of money, because what happens is they have to route you back home and then they have to try to get you back out on the road, so it limits your miles for the weeks. And you're just not going to make any money as an over-the-road truck driver going home that often. So I definitely recommend, especially for new drivers, to try to stay out at least a month at a time. And after you've been out on the road for a month, take a good 3-4 days home, relax, unwind, visit with some family members, and get back out there and do it again.
Yeah, but the home time is good. You know, if I put it in a week in advance, they give me a load back usually, and that's the Florida, so it's kind of difficult to do that. So it has been good. I've really had no issues so far, so home time has been great.
All right, so overall, this guy has had a good experience working for Swift. He's appreciative of the communication, them getting out on maintenance, and their mentorship program, so that's definitely good to see. All right, so we're going to take a look at one other review here on YouTube, and this one is coming from the channel Nyquarius Thompson. Again, I'll leave a link for that video down below.
We've been at Swift for about 10 months. 2 months will be my 1 year review. I just decided to go and do it now while I have time to kind of give y'all an update. If those looking to join Swift, so you can make your decision right now. I'm gonna be brutally honest, not finna sugarcoat nothing. All right, so I just want to give a quick horror story that I got. I heard the horror stories of Swift. I already know about. It's a lot of bad things that connected to Swift. Why I chose Swift, don't know. I went there, my brothers was there, and I chose Swift. You know what I'm saying? So let's get straight into it, man. When I talked to my recruiter on the phone for the first time, the person that was trying to bring me to the company, I was told that we'll be getting paid $1,300. That's what I was told. Now, this whole 10 months that I've been working here, I have never received a $1,300 check. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened at all, but it was just kind of bad. Even getting into the school was kind of bad. And what I mean by that is, when I was going to the school to get enrolled in the school, I talked to my recruiter. She told me to, I talked to the recruiter. She told me to put my 2 weeks notice in at my job. So I put my 2 weeks notice in at my job because she said I was gonna be starting school on this date. And then when that date get here, literally on the last day where I put my 2 weeks notice in at my job, she called me and said, your application got denied due to work experience. You ain't got enough work experience.
Oh my
and I was just
gosh.
like, what? You just told me everything was approved when I quit my job. So literally on the last day of my job, it was panic attack. I was walking around in there. I was happy to be leaving. But all that junk changed. I'm walking around and then I'm nervous because I don't want to walk back in there and say, hey, you want to give me my job back? I know I just put my 2 weeks notice in, but you want to give me my job back real quick because, you know what I'm saying? You know, the other job didn't work out. I was too embarrassed to go and do that. So it's just like, I'm on the phone on break time. I'm calling every other trucking company. Snyder, Prime, what y'all got going on? What it takes? I'm willing to do whatever. So
Wow.
Luckily, my brother worked at Swift at the time, and he knew somebody who expedited the process. But other than that, like my miles, like the miles that you get, I don't feel like you get paid enough for the miles that you get. And I think that's why the check is so low. The pay is not adding up for me. It feels like I'm doing a lot of work, but the pay is just not there. And I'm not one to complain because everything happen for a reason. And we just doing the negative first. It's some positive. We just doing the negative first. Came into this thinking that I was going to be getting $1,300 a week. Now in the beginning, I was getting 8 to 9. For some reason, I don't know what happened. Right now, it's 600 to 800. That's the ranges of the check currently. 600 to 800. Currently, that's the ranges of the check right now. So if you're coming into Swift as a new worker truck driver, or whatever the case may be, that range is 600 to 800. I have not seen above 800 yet. For some reason, it switched. My highest ever check that I received from Swift was 1,200. And I received that check because I had to do a shuffle trailer. I had to shuffle trailers and my driver leader gave me $25 per trailer that I moved. So that's why my check even got that high in the first place. And then they took that away. So you can't even get that no more. The bonus that they give, it really don't be much of nothing. It don't add up to much of nothing, but you never look down on anything. I don't care if you only getting $100 in your bonus. That's something that you that's something that you didn't have before. So always trying to remain positive in your situation. As far as my appointments and loads and all that stuff, they pretty much get you there. You know, they keep you running. There is some days that I had to sit for a whole day. There is some days that I had to sit for a whole day and no money was to be made. Like, that is a day. Currently, today is one of them days. Yesterday, I went to pick up a load. I had to sit at the shipper all day. Didn't go nowhere. And then I came back to the terminal and now I got to drive off again. The checks is not where it's at. That's the only thing that bouts with is the pay. That's literally the only thing that you can come to mind to complain about is the pay. You know what I'm saying? Other than the fact that I have gotten live.
It sounds like he's getting the miles that they're advertising, but his cents per mile is probably at that 43 cents per mile. And this goes back to it being all a part of that equation. You either have high cents per mile, low miles, or high miles, low cents per mile. And either way, your check's going to end up balancing out to be the same.
From some of the Swift workers, but for the most part, the only thing that I can talk about that I really I guess at the time don't understand is the pay. Or the only negative that I have out of this situation is the pay. My home time, it immediately gets approved, so I can go there home whenever I can go home whenever I want to go home. My passengers is approved. My truck, I like it. It haven't broke down on me. Everything, my driver leader, he ain't nagging me 24/7. It's no forced dispatch. None of this stuff. So really, you just be chilling out here on this road. But the only negative I would say is the pay. The pay is the only negative things about this. We got terminals everywhere. So there's everywhere you can go and lay your head down there. So really, I don't have no complaints except the pay. And I ain't even complaining about the pay because I don't believe in complaining, bro. I believe in being grateful. You know what I'm saying? All my bills is paid. All my needs is getting taken care of. And I can get some of what I want. So I don't want to come on here and sound like I'm just greedy. But I know that, you know, for the work that we do, I feel like I do deserve more than what I'm receiving with Swift. You know what I'm saying? I've been here for a while. I try to get on dedicated accounts. That's another thing that's hard. They pretty stingy with them dedicated accounts. Like I try to get on the Dit Sporting Good account. They pretty stingy. They ain't really letting you get on these accounts. So it's kind of hard getting on a dedicated account out here. But for the most part, I enjoy trucking. Whether I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be here, whether it's long term or short term, but for the most part, I love trucking. I got my wife out here, so I'm having fun with her. We chill, we play the game. It's a relaxing vibe. So for the most part, I enjoy trucking. But that's my little spiel on it, man. The only thing I can really complain about is the check, bro. It's the check. If that check was just a little bit higher, I wouldn't even have no complaints as far as Swift transportation.
Yeah, going into this, seeing that the pay was 43 cents per mile, I know the pay is going to be a big problem. But when you couple that with less than adequate miles, it really becomes a bigger issue where drivers are only getting $500 to $700 a week. And without fail, I always get comments on my videos saying things like, I make more money working at Burger King, or I make more money working at Amazon, or whatever the other job that's making more does. But you guys got to keep in mind that this is just a starting point. There's definitely a bigger upward potential of pay as you move forward in your career. And like I always say, experience is the name of the game. The more experience that you have, especially experience that's accident free and ticket free, the more money that you're going to be able to make out here on the road. For example, when I first started trucking, I was making 34 cents per mile, which equated to my first year being about $45,000. Within a couple of years, I was making about $55,000 for the year, and so on and so forth till my best year was $112,000 for the year. And when I quit being an over-the-road truck driver, I was making 65 cents per mile. So just keep that in mind as you're starting with your first company. The pay isn't always going to be the best, but trucking isn't a short-term thing. It's a long-term thing. So just think about what your life is going to be like in the next 2 years. And I want to urge you guys to think about it like this. Imagine you want to become a doctor. And in order to become a doctor, it takes about 10 to 15 years worth of training and education to get to a level where you actually get that doctorate and you're able to actually practice as a doctor. So if you switch your mindset and think about trucking similarly, most truck driving schools and CDL training programs are 3 to 4 weeks long. The additional training that you need when you get started with that company is another 4 weeks. And at that point, you're able to go solo and start working on building your career. So in a matter of just 2 months, you're getting started in your career field. And after your first year or two, you'll start seeing those big pay increases to where you're going to be making some really good money. So if you switch your mindset and think about those first 2 years as an education process, and that those first 2 years are there to get you that experience that you need to be a good driver, you're already beating the lowest level of a college education, which is 4 years. So when you see numbers like $600 or $700 a week, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. Sorry, that one was for my kids. So anyway, if you see numbers like $600 or $700 a week, and you hear people saying that they make more than that doing whatever, just know that that's probably all that position will ever make. And you have the upward potential being in trucking to make significantly more than that. It just takes time and experience to get there. All right, it is finally time to announce that giveaway winner for the Trucker Starter Pack. If you haven't checked out that video, I highly recommend it. It's a pack of things that you absolutely need before you get started with your first truck driving company. And we did a little shopping trip to buy all the things, and today we're going to announce the person that gets to receive all of those things. And with 32 entries on the list, it's finally time to see where the wheel lands. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? All right, the first place winner goes to David R. Congratulations, David R. I'll be reaching out to you via email, and we'll get that package sent out to you right away. Now back to the video. So we've called the recruiter, looked at some online reviews, as well as seen some videos from some drivers that have gone to work for Swift Transportation. So now it's time for the question, okay or no way. Would I, Trucker 219, go to work for Swift Transportation? Now here's the deal with this one. Knight and Swift are underneath the same umbrella company, and I said okay to Knight, and I'm going to say okay to Swift. And this one might be a little bit controversial, and and I understand that the pay is very low, but like we talked about in this video, there's a lot of upward potential in the trucking industry, and it's not always about pay. The fact that this company has such a broad reach across the industry, they're bound to have plenty of loads to run. And if you're not a big fan of dry van trailers, you could always switch to flatbed as well. And everything I've seen, whether it be the reviews or the other drivers sharing their experience, it seems like Swift is a good company to go to work for. And like the one guy said, the only downside is the pay. So despite all the jokes that are made about Swift, I would say, okay, I would go to work for them. Do I think they're absolutely the best option out there? No. There's plenty of companies that'll pay you a little bit better, but overall, I think this is a solid company that treats their drivers well. Their training program is pretty good. They do offer training to get your CDL. They also have programs for veterans. Also, they do offer a way to get your CDL through the company. They do offer a tuition reimbursement of up to $8,000. And finally, from one of the video reviews that we've seen, they do get you home when you expect to be home. So realistically, if everything except for the pay is a good thing, I have to say okay. But I want to hear from you guys. What are some of the funniest Swift acronyms that you've ever heard? And also, what has your experience been like working for Swift? And if you want to check out more deep dives just like this one, click the playlist right here. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right? Bye.